In the small city of Campbell River, a major drug case is heading to court. Yeah, Miss Lewis, can I talk to you? We're with CBC. We're doing a story because the RCMP said they seized a bunch of safe supply drugs at your property on Nursery Road. It's a bust that surprised police because some of the drugs were meant to solve the opioid crisis. We wanted to talk about safe supply. I guess how the drugs are making their way apparently out of the safe supply into...
The system's broken.
What do you mean? Tell me though. What do you mean by the system's broken? The system she's talking about is safe supply, prescription pills meant to replace toxic street drugs like fentanyl. But police say an alarming amount is being sold on the streets, a process known as diversion.
There's been at least 2 files that I'm aware of where we've said to the Crown Council that we believe that these are safe supply.
Inspector Jeff Preston heads Campbell River's RCMP detachment. Earlier this year, they seized a huge amount of fentanyl, coke, and methamphetamine, along with 3,500 safe supply pills.
Those pills become a currency, or can become a currency, if you were so inclined to trade them.
And then those pills, wherever they come from, what currency do they have beyond then that next step?
Well, the individuals that are purchasing all the pills up, they're trafficking them to new clients.
From the outset of the Safe Supply program, even advocates of safe supply acknowledged some drugs would end up on the street.
The hydromorphine is being resold by the user.
But the extent of the problem is the subject of hot debate.
Powerful heroin-like drugs that are paid for by tax dollars and have funded a black market for fentanyl and killed so many people.
This fight against evidence-based programs that are actually saving lives just has to stop. People are dying, but not for the reasons they're giving.
There's been a lot of debate about the effectiveness of the Safe Supply program and the degree to which safe supply drugs are winding up in the middle of the illicit drug market. But what there hasn't been in the middle of this debate is a lot of facts. That's why we came to this courthouse in Campbell River to unseal this search warrant. It reveals how investigators followed the residents of this home on a local First Nation as they met with known drug users and street-level drug traffickers. Husband and wife Chris and Leah Lewis have been charged along with 2 other women who all live in the house. They're accused of possession for the purpose of trafficking hydromorphone, the safe supply drug more commonly known as Dilaudid. You are the Leah Lewis who's charged with that, and you're on the list.
Leah Lewis.
Yeah. Remember Leah Lewis? Well, what do you think about safe supply? Talk to me about it. We tried talking to her about these charges, but she wouldn't comment. Leah, can I talk to you about it?
I would prefer not to.
And so when they had this bust on Nursery Road, what did you think?
Well, I was shocked, to be honest. That's not something, we were anticipating. We did know about some of the harder drugs, the stuff that people were overdosing from. We've seen people that overdosed. But when we saw the safe supply, I was like, wow, this is really, really happening.
So explain to me a bit about the gate and I guess how it works.
Yeah, so when a car pulls up, if they were going to my house, they would just push my code.
Chief Ronnie Chakite heads the Weewakai First Nation. They first built this gate to keep COVID out. Now they're using it to keep drug dealers out.
We had one house that used to receive, 30 to 40 cars per day.
30 to 40 cars a day?
Yes, a day. And once we put in the gate, it was down to 1 car a day.
Chakite says it's part of his job to protect First Nations youth from the ravages of the drug trade. He's worried safe supply drugs are ending up in their hands.
It just shows you that it's not a safe supply. I think the program had intentions, but it's obviously failed. That's just my opinion of how I see it. I know the government officials see it different, but this is how we're seeing it as, as a nation of our size and seeing the amount that was there. It's unfortunate, but I just feel that it's not the system we need.
It's a system these people depend on. A lineup forms every morning outside this pharmacy in Campbell River. Cars circulate. People walk in and out with pills.
This is the safe supply, and that's what they look like. 8 milligrams of Dilaudid. These are an opiate.
William Cook says it can get chaotic here some mornings, with people milling about looking to buy or trade for safe supply.
I'm assuming that they buy them for next to nothing off people that are desperate. They take them to places that are remote, possibly, and probably sell them for triple or more, where people can't get them.
What do you think about that?
I think it's horrible. For some people, it's probably an income, or they'd starve. I think it's wrong, of course, because it's against the law. Some people need it to eat. That is a fact.
Safe supply drugs are turning up in busts in other parts of the province. In another search warrant obtained by CBC, police watched for weeks as an accused drug trafficker stood outside of this Prince George pharmacy trading harder drugs for safe supply. It's something you don't need to be a police officer to notice.
Like, this is just like a collection of bottles with labels and drugs that I found in bottles near the pharmacy.
Colin Middleton is tracking what he calls proof of diversion in Nanaimo, another Vancouver Island community struggling with a drug problem.
It's mostly hydromorphone. I mean, there's like 24 hydromorphone daily.
He heads a public safety group, and he's collected dozens of empty pill bottles outside a pharmacy dispensing safe supply a few blocks from his home.
It's clear that a lot of these people are just taking the drugs out of the bottles and handing them over to somebody else. Nobody that I associate with or in our group, has any issue with people taking medications as prescribed by their doctor. But that's not what's happening.
Middleton doesn't dispute the gravity of the toxic drug crisis. He sees it all around him. He says someone died in his backyard.
Middle of the night, it woke my wife and I up, and the next day we went out there and we could find used drug paraphernalia still there. It wasn't even cleaned up.
Middleton says he was angered by the open drug use in the neighborhood where he's raising kids. He says governments need to provide solutions that are safe for communities as well as drug users.
I think the taxpayers are getting ripped off.
Why?
Because we're paying for a public health system to provide medical support for people who need it. But if the drugs aren't being used for their intended purpose, and they're being sold into the black market for profit, organized criminals and gangs are profiting. And that is a direct assault on the tax-paying public.
We didn't come to Campbell River to debate the merits of safe supply. It's been a lifesaver for many. Last year, toxic drugs killed 47 people in this small region.
These are dilaudid 8 milligrams. I get 10 of them a day, so I take 2 every 4 hours.
Shauna Adams says these pills are getting her back to a normal life. She says she'd never sell them. Do you ever see people hanging around the clinic trying to get them from people?
Yeah.
How much does that happen?
Every day.
Every day?
Every day. Yeah.
Like in what kind of way? What happens?
You just hang around and ask for them. Ask if you're selling your pills, if you want to trade your pills. Every day.
Every day. How does that make you feel?
It bothers me. It just bothers me that they care more about making money than other people's safety. That's what really bothers me.
Adams has 2 young boys. She wants to be around to watch them grow up. She says she doesn't want anything to do with diversion.
I kind of just don't listen to it because I don't want to be a part of it. So.
Okay. How come?
Because I'd rather live than die. That clearly makes sense, but yeah, I don't want to cheat the system here. I like my doctor. I don't want to lie to her. So if I don't need these, why am I on them?
Jason, this work you're doing is really interesting, and police in London, Ontario just dropped some pretty startling numbers around safe supply. And I'm curious what you think they tell us about the scope of this problem.
Yeah, so I mean, Adrian, London police say in just 6 months they seized more than 11,000 diluted pills that came from safe supply. So they've really become part of the illicit drug economy. So that means essentially they're showing up in increasing amounts as kind of like a byproduct of regular drug enforcement, as you saw here in our investigation.
Well, we know you're going to stay on top of this. There are lots more leads to follow. So Jason Proctor in Vancouver, thank you.